Musashi had shown great disrespect to Kojiro. In feudal Japan, the two agreed to meet for a duel. Kojiro showed up early. He was prepared. He was ready. Didn't know what was going to happen. The time came. The time went. No Musashi. Kojiro stayed, confused. Very late, Musashi showed up for the duel, and he showed up without a sword. He had what's called a bokken, a wooden sword, like for practicing, not for an actual combat. And Kojiro, enraged, decided, okay, I'm going to teach this disrespectful clod a lesson. Long story short, Kojiro lost the duel. Musashi's disrespect continued. But anyway, tell you that story to tell you this. Years later, as Musashi came closer to the end of his life, he wrote a document, and it's called Dokkodo niten Ryu, which means the way of walking by yourself. And in that document, he says, let me get the actual quote here. It says, trust in the way of heaven, but do not seek its help. Now what this means is you can trust in fate or God or whoever, but when the time comes, it's just you facing the thing. You can't determine that you will have the assistance of God. For Christians, this has particular value and sort of resonates. Let me go to passages here that I have pulled up for you. For example, the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. When Nebuchadnezzar says, everybody must bow to this golden statue of me because I'm so awesome. What do the boys tell him? Well, they were men, but what do they tell him? All right, it says in Daniel 3, verse 17 and 18, King James Version for inclusivity. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. What'd they say? They said, hey, God's able to rescue us, but even if he doesn't, we're still not going to do this stupid thing that you want us to do. It's against God, so no. And that was very similar to the sentiment of the feudal samurai, that they weren't depending on God. They weren't saying, oh, he'll definitely rescue us from this. They're saying, even if God doesn't rescue us, we still won't do what you want us to do. And then another passage, similar sentiment, is in Job. Of course, Job is I believe in this part of the passage, talking to his friends and telling them, hey, I'm not, and also his wife, he's saying, even if I don't have a reason to think God will rescue me, I'm still just not gonna do this wrong thing. So in Job 13:15, it says, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. but I will maintain mine own ways before him. In other words, hey, I'm going to keep my integrity. I'm going to follow him, even if he's appointed me to destruction here. And that is also reminiscent of the feudal Japan reference story. Even Jesus has this moment. Garden of Gethsemane, when he's praying, he says in Matthew 26:39, and he went a little farther, fell on his face, and prayed, saying, "O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt." What does he say there? Hey, God, I wish that I didn't have to go through this. But it's your will. And whatever you want to do, what we're going to do. And we know what happened from there. And theologically, there's a sort of clear idea of why that might be, why there must be a purpose to what happens in the negative, but it must be accepted as the plan. We don't necessarily understand it, but it is the plan, and it's all part of the plan. We see this from the Pauline letter to the Philippians. Philippians 1:21-24 says, "For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. But if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor. Yet what I shall choose I wot not. For I am in a strait betwixt two, having a desire to depart and to be with Christ, which is far better. Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you." What is he saying there? He's saying, I'm in this situation, about to die, about to be killed by the Romans, and I have two opinions. One, I go there, I die, and I go be with God forever, in peace, happiness. But for you guys in Philippi, I want to be here. I want to be here to help you. But he's in submission. He's saying, for me to live as Christ and to die as gain. So it's, both choices are to the good, I know, but, I'd rather have the one than the other, but either way, it's God's plan. And that's what I had for you today. I wanted to demonstrate using a little story from feudal Japan, and wanted to get to this theological point that even in it's okay to pray for God's help, obviously. But if you go through something, there's obviously a reason for it. We see that in the life of Paul. We see that in the submission of Jesus. We see that in the life of Job. We see that in the three Hebrew boys. And we see that even in the life of people who do not believe in Christ, such as Musashi, who lived in feudal Japan in the Edo period. Have a good day, everyone.